name is Mwai, and thank you so much for tuning in, and allow me to just speak to us very briefly on what I've entitled The Trap of Dishonor. The Trap of Dishonor. You know, in this life, every one of us will obviously come from a certain family. We all come under one sort of authority or the other throughout life. So the first one being, you know, the parents that brought us into this world. But then after that, there will all be all kinds of people that God puts us under, even as He helps us to journey through life and to develop and to grow and to mature and to come to our destiny. But many, many times, there are many of us who have failed the test of honor. And many people sometimes find themselves dishonoring their own parents, your mother, your father. And you know, even the Bible says that children obey your parents, and we're supposed to honor our parents because that's the first commandment with a promise. But unfortunately, sometimes, maybe out of our own weakness, out of things happening, maybe out of things that have been done to us, we find ourselves even dishonoring our parents, dishonoring our fathers, dishonoring our mothers. Then maybe we begin also, we go to school, we dishonor some of the teachers who God has put charge over us. Sometimes we dishonor other relatives who God has put charge over us. We go to church where God has placed in there, pastors and apostles and prophets, the fivefold ministry. We go there, we dishonor them. You get a job, but you're in the habit of dishonoring even your bosses and what have you. And I have learned, by the way, from experience and even from scriptural support, that when we are people who dishonor those that God has put in authority over us, we lose respect for those that God has put in authority over us. It curtails, it puts a glass ceiling over our own development and over our own promotion. And there are many people today who are stuck. You are stuck in your life has become just one big merry-go-round. You're stuck. There's a lot of motion in your life, but you're not making much progress. You try to move in this direction, you don't go far. You start a business, it doesn't go far. You get a job, and very soon you have lost that job. You try to get into a relationship, but you find that relationships are difficult, even marriage. Or you just find that your life is one thing after the other, and you can never seem to make progress. You are well educated, yes. Maybe you are a very gifted person, but you just never make any progress. Is it possible that you have entertained dishonor? Have you fallen into that trap of dishonor? Because the people that God has put in charge over you and authority over you have a responsibility. In fact, the reason why God puts them over you is that they can usher you to the next level, to the next stage in life. You notice the journey of life is such that there will always be people He will put over you, whether it is parents are there, they will nurture you into the next phase of life. Then He puts you maybe in the hands of an employer who nurtures you into the next stage. Maybe He takes you to a church and the pastor who is there, the men of God, the women of God who are there are supposed to nurture you spiritually to the next phase of life. But when you dishonor, it means that you curtail whatever those authorities were supposed to do in your life. Now, I know there are people who may not really buy even into whatever I am saying, but it is true. And the truth of the matter is that the enemy sometimes will use that trap of dishonor so that he can hold you down. And I want to challenge you, if there are people you know, and in your heart of hearts you know that you have dishonored, and you know today you are paying the price, you are suffering the consequences, I want to encourage you, please find them. If they're still there, if they're still alive, if you still have access to them, go to them and ask them to forgive you. Humble yourself and apologize. Humble yourself, go and honor them. And I tell you this, when we learn to honor those God has put in authority over us, God opens, unlocks amazing blessings. He unlocks our destiny. He unlocks our promotions. He unlocks our abundance and prosperity. I challenge you and test and see whether this is not true. But it is very, very true. And I have observed people over time, and those who are given to dishonor never, ever proceed on as they should have proceeded on. I challenge you, and may the Lord bless you, and may the Lord keep you, and may the Lord cause His face to shine upon you, even as you choose to honor those that God has put in charge over you. God bless you.